Hi, welcome to Observations. I'm host John Walsh, publisher of the Palm Coast and Ormond Beach Observer community newspapers. Observations is a collection of podcasts and videos of conversations with neighbors, community partners, elected officials, and friends about local issues that are taking place in many communities.
Welcome to Observations. I'm host John Walsh. Joining me today is my friend, Bill Navarra, owner-broker of Realty Pros Assured. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for carving out some time today.
Not a problem.
I'm going to guess you're kind of busy these days?
We're a little bit busy right now, just a little bit.
Not unique to your agency. Real estate market is crazy.
The real estate market's crazy. We have actually opened our company. We hit 13 years. Just had an amazing celebration for that.
Congratulations.
So crazy market.
That's fantastic. 13 years. We're coming up on our 10th year anniversary in Ormond, September of this year. So
fantastic.
Not far behind you. So I'd like to start, Bill, just tell us a little bit about your journey in real estate and how you became partner, owner, broker of Realty Pros Assured.
Sure. So I had the pleasure of working for a great company before Realty Pros for 9.5, 10 years. And in the downturn of the market in 2008, I had this crazy ambition, and I talked Buzzy Porter into us opening up a company in the worst economic economy ever.
So you guys were working together.
We were working together, competing against each other.
But at the same company?
Same company.
Okay, but independent agents doing your own thing?
Independent agents, teams, everything was separate.
Okay.
And then in my great wisdom, felt the market was turning so much in 2008 that it would be a great time to open a company.
Okay, wait. So the market's taking a nosedive.
Market started to take a nosedive in 2006.
Okay.
So we're about 2 years into a nosedive, thinking we're close to the end of the nosedive.
I see. Okay. So your timing was optimistic?
Very optimistic would be a good scenario for it.
Cool.
Yep. Financially scary, petrifying, but it was a good time.
So what was the fear? I mean, your income had to be off pace a little bit at that time.
Like 66%.
Okay. So it was sort of a less of a risk to go out on your own at that point?
Yeah, generally when you're losing money and you're down 66% in revenues, it's always a good time to open up a company.
Do a little bit shift and go in a different direction.
It always is a good time. That is sarcasm.
Okay, so how did you did you start it yourself before you became partners with Buzzy?
No.
Or how did that come about?
Buzzy and I competed with the highest respect, and we're good friends since day one of us getting into real estate. I started a year before him. And we worked at a different company, and then we came to the company we worked at for 9 years. Finally I said, we really think it's a time for a change. We really got some great ambition. We've got some things we really think differently, and it would be exciting.
Than the company you were with at the point.
Exactly. So it'd be exciting to do our own company and open up our own way. It would have been a lot better if I'd have waited 2 years to do it based on the economic downturn of the market. We opened in May 15th was our grand opening, 2008, and the stock market crashed September 2008, and the whole housing market stopped.
I was on a phone call with my brother in 2008, and I had a advertising agency at the time before the Observer business, and I'm on the phone with him in 2008, and I said, you know what, I'm going to be okay if the economy doesn't get any worse. That's what he did, exactly. He chuckled and said, well, good luck, buddy,
Exactly.
And 2009 concluded that I needed to change directions and launch the Observer. So very similar to what you were staring at.
Yeah, it was a very interesting time. In retrospect, best time we could have ever done it. We were opening while a lot of people were closing. So successful people and successful agents said, why are they doing the opposite of everybody else? And they came and joined us through our journey.
So you and Buzzy opened an office. Where was your first office located?
1450 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond.
Okay.
Right on Granada. $20 plus a square foot.
All right.
In 2008, which was very pricey.
And so you guys unlocked the door and said, okay, we're in business. Here we go.
We unlocked the door. We were excited. And then we would hope the mailman wouldn't show up with the electric bill. So that was kind of the philosophy for a while.
I understand. Serial entrepreneur myself, so I totally understand that. That's great. Okay, so started selling some properties. Some houses.
We really started to sell a lot of foreclosures and short sales, which was what was in the market then.
Wow.
And that year, Buzzy and I personally bought and sold 38 of them. Buzzy did more than that himself. So we did buy and sell a lot of homes that year. So kind of a different template than our normal selling real estate.
Right. So you've been selling real estate all those years.
Yep.
The market's changed, and now there's new opportunities. And I kind of wanted to, talk about that a little bit, because you don't hear much about foreclosures or short sales today, do we?
You hear nothing about foreclosures and short sales.
But I do recall when we met back in 2012, it was still heavily short sales, foreclosures, and that was the majority of the transactions, right?
It really was. It was, 2012, we started to see stability back in our market. 2008, 2009, we were still at an abyss that didn't have a bottom. And that was the nervousness, was where is the bottom of the housing market going to plummet to? And it hit bottom. Obviously, we all know that. And it's a lesson learned across all of the markets. And a lot of laws changed based on that. The Frank Dodd
in your
bill,
industry, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Frank Dodd bill came through, and several others that affected the lending and the different ways that people could put themselves in these bad positions. So I'm not pro-government, getting involved in business, but I think in this essence, they really did a good job putting together a plan that makes sense.
Well, the financial crisis that was a result of the real estate bubble.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So obviously something had to be done. So you're rolling with the market. You guys are starting to expand at that point. How'd that go?
We opened one office, and we had that office for 2 years. And then we had an opportunity to take over a beachside office. A small company was there, and we ended up, that company kind of merged in with us, which was unique. But so we took that and we moved into the Ormond-by-the-Sea market. So we had Granada Boulevard, then we did Ormond-by-the-Sea.
Do you still occupy that facility?
No, we actually
You're
bought
up the street a little bit.
The old Al Weeks' building, which he was like the mayor of Ormond-by-the-Sea.
Right.
We didn't know he didn't own the building. Someone else did, but we ended up buying that building. So we still own that building today. Have completely remodeled it, and it looks like a very modern, beautiful building. But we love that building.
Great location.
Owner holds a mortgage for us. She won't let us pay it off, and we keep trying, and we ask her every year. So it's
all right.
a great building for us.
Okay, so 2012 we met.
Yep.
We were both involved in leadership at the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I followed you as chairman of the organization.
You did.
And during our association engagement, I know we're still both involved, but in the leadership roles, we created a breakfast. And it kind of grew legs, and that was Prosperity Hour, which is still very popular today. The point of the Prosperity Hour was the members of the chamber in various industries would give us regular monthly updates as to trends and that sort of stuff. Do you remember what we locked in on when we first started having Prosperity Hour in your reports?
I do not remember the fact we stuck on $96 per square foot of living area.
$96 a square foot. So what we're talking about is in your report, that particular Prosperity Hour, we said, okay, what's happening in the market? And the first data point or measure that you shared with us was that the value per square foot on homes sold in the market, living area was at $96.
Yes.
Okay. Has it changed?
Today, we are hitting over $200 per square foot living area.
More than double.
So to really break down the numbers, if you had a 1,500 square foot home, it would be worth $150 then. Today, a 1,500 square foot home would be worth $300,000. That's an easy way to really look at the difference in value.
Okay, so we're going to come back to the market a little bit later on.
Sure.
Okay, so let's see. Who was the first agent? So you merged with this company, and with it, you acquired a couple of agents. Is that right?
We actually ended up acquiring Ben Richter, who is moved to Virginia, but a well-known broker at the time. He worked with our company and a few others. And then when we took the Weeks office over, we actually had Donna Dosh and a few others that were in that office that came into the company. So we've had great growth that way, but we haven't grown agents based on taking offices over. We basically take the location and then we grow the location to become Realty Pros.
Okay.
So kind of a different philosophy than the old we come in, take your existing agents, your business. That doesn't work well for us. We would rather work into great locations and build the company from the ground up.
Culture is unique.
Our culture is very unique, and it's very hard to go into someone else's management style and say, okay, well, now they're not here anymore. This is our management style.
The new sheriff in town.
This
You're going to do it our way.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It is. So for us, we basically find a need, and when we have a need that we need to be in that market, then we'll move into that market, and then we'll grow organically from there.
I meant to ask earlier, you talked about your career, but did you grow up in Ormond as well?
I grew up in Daytona.
In Daytona.
My dad worked for the city of Daytona for 34 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We're now, you guys are going. How many agents do you have today?
Today we're around 235 agents, and we started with 9.
So in less than 15 years,
yes,
you went from the two of you to 235 agents.
We started with 9. There's a group of us that came over together.
Okay.
Including licensed admin, but we went from there to 235. And currently we have 5 locations.
And the 5 locations, Volusia mostly, Volusia Flagler.
Volusia. We just opened a absolutely gorgeous Daytona Beach Shores office and completely remodeled, gutted it. Absolutely gorgeous. It's got the neon lights when you drive by at night, and that is a really signature office for us. We have a great office on Dunlawton. We have our commercial division in the 140 South Atlantic building in Ormond Beach, and then we have 2110 Ocean Shore and our signature building at 900 West Granada,
which is gorgeous.
We developed.
Yeah, been there. Great place, nice
Thank
place.
You.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Observations. I'm host John Walsh. Joining me today is my friend, Bill Navarra, owner-broker at Realty Pros Assured, serving the Volusia Flagler markets. Welcome, Bill. We're talking about your team, the fact that it has expanded to 235 plus or minus, given which day it is.
Yep.
So how does that happen? How do you go from the 9 of you to 235?
So, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast and conversation, we do things differently. We don't recruit organically. So we don't go and somebody is going to get a license. We don't send them a letter. We don't call them. And a lot of brokerages do.
I see.
Our design is not that way. Ours is kind of a, we have a standard and we do a quality and we really push, and we're so involved in the community, and we love our community and we love our agents, that when our agents start working for us, generally we have a very minimal turnover. In turn, other people that become more experienced in the industry wonder, well, what does Realty Pros do different than others? And we end up getting a lot of great agents that want to work somewhere a little different than the norm.
So I'm going to guess that, in any industry, there's the newbies,
Yep.
the ones cutting their teeth in the industry, and then there's the old guard that have been around forever, and the guy somewhere in the middle. Is there a sweet spot for you?
I would say now we become the middle guy. We were the newbie, 2008, 9, 10, and 12, because no other
Needed
person
feet
was
on the
insane
street
to open up a real estate company at the time. So we were very new. And then now I would say at this point we are more of the mid-established company.
And so you're attracting agents from other brokerage firms?
We attract agents from other brokerage firms or newer agents that get in the industry and are really looking for a career path, and say, well, why did Realty Pros, thank goodness, the past 2 years has been the number 1 real estate company in our area.
Congratulations.
In sales and obviously other avenues, and we're heading for third year. So people are like, well, why are they not reaching out to me? What's different about them? And today I had a great interview with someone I think would be spectacular on our team. So those people trend to come to us.
Right.
So it's a different world when we're reaching out to them versus they're coming to us and saying, hey, why didn't you reach out to me?
So I don't know much about your industry, but I'm going to guess that agents are commission only or heavily commissioned.
They are.
So what's the key to success? How do you get from not selling anything to making a good living?
Well, I've interviewed hundreds of agents.
Okay.
And have had hundreds of agents work with us. And I find one correlation, and it's going to sound quirky, it's going to sound unbelievable. The only thing that I can really put together is someone that has a hard work ethic is going to be successful, no matter who it is. I've interviewed agents and said there is no way that agent is going to do well in this industry. No way. And they are successful beyond belief. And I've had agents that I say, wow, that person is going to be a rock star, and they disappear in a year. And what I really sat and I've analyzed it, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, it is that work ethic. It really is the person that doesn't mind getting a phone call at 10 o'clock at night, or an email at 10 o'clock at night, or a text at 10 o'clock at night, and following up with it the next morning, setting the appointment and going after it. Those are my successful people.
So in a lot of businesses like mine, our sales reps have a sea of opportunity out there, prospects, any business is a potential advertiser in the Observer.
Of course.
How does a sales rep in your industry stay busy all day looking for new business?
So there's many variables.
Direct, indirect is
There's
kind
direct,
of
there's indirect, there's great things that will train them, and getting very involved in the community is a way to meet more people. I teach a lot of our agents, and so does a lot of our upper management end, and we say don't be a secret agent. And people are, well, what's a secret agent? Exactly. Don't be a secret agent. Go join the club. If you're interested in the baseball, go be the coach of the baseball team. Sponsor the baseball team. Get involved.
Golf leagues.
Meet those parents. Golf leagues. Chambers. You know, I've been a president of a chamber. I've been a president of Community Foundation, captain of Quarterback Club, president of Daytona Beach Association of Realtors. You know, I've joined clubs and gotten very involved with those and move up. You know, and people say in our chamber days, you know, John and I spent some time together. They're like, oh, I joined the chamber. Well, what'd you do? Well, I came to the social. Well, you know, unless you want to drink a beer with a buddy, you're not going to get business joining a social. Join a committee.
Just
get
because you're a
involved.
member.
Put your time in. But, you know, again, you analyze what I'm saying, it falls back to one simple thing, work ethic.
Get up every day and go to work.
Yes. You go after it, you chase it, you work every day, you're going to be successful.
You know, I've been in sales a long time,
Yes.
long time.
Yep.
But you know, there are days when that telephone feels like it weighs 5,000 pounds and you just don't have the energy to pick it up. The thing that makes you the most money is the hardest thing to do.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the day you want to go on the boat on a Sunday and you actually have the laptop in the car with you, writing a contract as you're driving down to the boat. Obviously, you're not driving, doing this.
Right.
Someone else is. But that's, to me, is what makes the difference. And it's that intensity.
Certainly not traditional hours in your industry.
Not at all. There is not.
I would say it would be the opposite when it's convenient for me to do business.
It is and it isn't, because the business part of the sale happens during the day.
I see.
Meaning inspections, appraisals, checking with the contracts, checking with the closing. Right before I got here, I actually had a closing, and I had closing this morning at 8:30. So both of those happen in the daytime.
Gotcha.
Because title companies, mortgage companies, everybody's open 9 to 5. Our sales part is nights and weekends. So you have two different paths of business. You have the working the transaction, and then you have the selling the transaction.
I see.
So it aligns differently on the time frame.
Wow.
But a lot of nights and weekends is our industry. But if I'm working on a Saturday, I'm getting a very good sale. I'm working on a Saturday.
Right.
So, you know, if I'm going to spend the time with somebody, I'm going to spend the time with a buyer that's ready to go and donate my time to it.
So we talked a little bit earlier about, you know, the changes in the markets, and we dwelled on the short sales and the foreclosures. And even though prices were low and it was a buyer's market, I'm going to say.
Yes, it was.
And so some of the challenges were, you know, what are the obstacles then versus now? The obstacle then with financing, how are you going to get somebody qualified and that sort of stuff. Right? Back then, that was a big one.
That was then. Now it's a totally different obstacle. It is.
What are the challenges today?
It's a multiple offer situation. So it is trying to make.
Wait, multiple offer.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Multiple.
I got one house.
Yep. So
bids.
I list a house and I
Okay.
get 5 offers on it, and I'm representing the seller, let's say, and I'll do one as represent the buyer. Well, our job is to get the seller the best offer possible. Sometimes that's not the highest offer possible. It's the best offer possible. And that's where experience and knowledge really comes into play to advise your customer, even though this one might be $3,000 higher, this is cash, no contingency, 7 days.
I see.
This has a lot of contingencies. So that's where you really, realtors come into play, is we guide you down that right transaction. Without the knowledge of what a transaction is, one of the lines I always hear, John, and always makes me laugh is, well, at the end of the day, it's cash anyway when there's a mortgage. Okay, but you got to get to the end of the day. And sometimes that day doesn't happen.
Well, you mentioned that word mortgage, and some of the things that I'm hearing right now are the house is listed, those 5 offers come in, and it's over asking price, and it's over listed price.
Yes.
How are they getting financed? Or these cash?
Well, we're up 166% in cash transactions this year.
More than double.
166%. So it's unbelievable. From last year to this year, the percentage is up. So that's how much it's tripled if you really look at the 166. So it's unbelievable to see how much cash transactions we have in our market today. Will that disappear? Of course it will. Where's the cash coming from? None of us know.
Well, that's
it's
scary.
It's like,
but
I'm like, if you wait an hour and go to lunch, you might come back and there'll be a cash offer.
So is that cash offer sometimes defined as, I am qualified, I have been approved, I have the bank's check ready to go when I find the right deal? And that they're calling a cash transaction?
No. So there's a line in the contract that says cash or non-contingent on financing. So your money, besides like an inspection, is hard. That's a cash transaction. So if I represent the seller, obviously I'm going to say to you, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, this is a better transaction because you don't have the contingency.
It's going to sign the check.
Right.
And we're done.
Well, once the inspections are done, we're done. Or if not, you get the money and we move on to plan B and you get that money and keep the money.
Okay.
So
take it from the representing the buyer now.
Representing the buyer, you really got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to write the best possible offer. We're actually seeing letters from buyers coming in to a seller telling them how great they are as a buyer and their family and everything, and really painting a great picture so that the buyer picks their offer over the other 3 or 4 offers they have. The other thing you need to be is you need to be on point, meaning the realtor. If I'm sitting here now, by the end of today, I'm going to do 4 updates on new listings because I have a pool of buyers looking for properties. And I want to make sure I fulfill that before another offer goes in. So we're writing offers now at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, 6 in the morning, when 3 years ago, we're like, I'll get tomorrow. It was no big deal because you didn't have the pressure of the world looking at our amazing
You're representing the buyer.
State.
You've got to have everything ready to go, delivered to that seller, because he's looking for the best deal that you just said.
He's looking for the best deal, but so are people all over the country are looking at our amazing area and buying in our amazing area. So you're dealing with offers coming from all over the country through local agents, and you have to compete against those too. So you really want to get your offer in first before you get the unfortunate, sorry, they were accepted an offer.
Okay, so that's an interesting twist in the marketplace today.
Yes.
Is the competition isn't the guy
Fierce.
down the street. It's now representing buyers that want to come to our area.
Yes.
So really you're competing with the world, right? I mean,
and unfortunately, you're competing with our economics here versus someone in a northern state that makes 2 to 3 times the money you do, that thinks we're on sale and we feel we're overpriced. So you have that corridor of conversation that they're saying, in my area, this is a tenth of what I can buy at my house, or 15th or whatever.
Sure.
When here we're saying, wow, this is double what the value we feel the property should sell for. So it's a real struggle with our values right now versus,
getting on the same page with that other agent from the other market. Yeah, sure.
The customer, the customer says, I don't mind paying, and I'll have a customer from the Northeast or other area, I don't mind paying 10% more because I want the property. And 10% to them is not a lot of money. But
because they just cashed out of half the house for twice the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really the challenge for our young our firemen, our police officers, our affordable housing.
That's a good direction that I wanted to explore with you. What's happening? Okay, we talked about 96 to over 200 and whatever the current square foot rate is. What's happening to our buyers?
It's unfortunately squeezing our affordable buyers out of the market.
A conversation is taking place all over the state right now.
Of course it is. I mean, other states, they're having the exact opposite conversations. And in Florida, they're having that conversation because we are growing at the fastest rate in the whole entire country right now.
The state chamber came down to Palm Coast, Flagler County, and predicts that there's 30 to 40,000 more people going to move here in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, that's a 30 to 40% increase to where we are. What's happening in Volusia? What's happening in Ormond? Same?
We are seeing the biggest growth I've ever seen. We have amazing subdivisions. We've got Mosaic. We've got the Margaritaville subdivision. We have Avalon coming online, which is going to be around 5,000 homes with 1 million square foot of office space right on Granada Boulevard. Mm-hmm. So it's astounding what's coming to our area and what's on the plan.
But is inventory a big challenge today?
So inventory would be like you not having ink to print your papers right now. We have no inventory. We are down to around 777 homes in the Daytona, Volusia market, which means to DeLand, to Flagler, 777.
And those would be in the MLS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're hearing stories, Bill, that agents that get listings are avoiding MLS because of the pocket full of buyers that they have.
I hope you're not getting those stories because being the president of the board of realtors and running our business,
okay,
I feel that's not in the best service to the seller. The seller in today's market should have their property be seen by the open market.
By as many people as possible.
Of course, to get maximum value. If someone here is going to buy the home and someone up north, like I said earlier, is paying 10% more, as a representative for the seller,
you owe it to them.
I have an obligation to the seller, an ethical obligation, keyword ethical obligation, to get the seller the most money possible. So they should season the market. So generally now we're letting homes sit 2 or 3 days on the market before even accepting offers. That way that property gets the opportunity to be seen. It's a very good practice. It's the right practice.
So even though business is, demand is high,
yes,
it doesn't necessarily make it, a panacea that you're just every agent in the market is rolling in dough and making big bucks because of the other obstacles.
Unfortunately, the opposite, because we have no inventory to sell. So, like I said, I'm 6 a.m., 11 o'clock at night, jumping on properties, and I'm in the market every day. Someone that's more of a part-time, by the time they even find a property, sometimes it could actually be sold. So it's harder now for an average agent. I like a stable market. If you said, Bill, what's your dream? Stable market. I don't like the influx. I don't like the down. Just give me a nice stable Mabel, and we'll all make a great living. We'll get great for our customers, and that's a market I love.
So we went from the 2006's 8s through 10. There was so much inventory, but nobody could get done, right?
I was carrying 50 listings at a time. Just 50 listings.
How many listings do you have today, personally?
Right now, 12, and it's the lowest I've had in 10 years.
12 is a lot.
That's nothing for me.
Is that right?
Normally I carry 30 to 40 listings.
Wow.
On average.
Okay. Yeah. Where's it going?
I think you're going to see an increase in the interest rates, which in turn is going to slow our market down. And I think we'll start to see more of a stable market as time comes. I think that's the overall what's going to happen.
So the migration from the states that are chasing their residents away because of high taxes or employment tax or whatever, they're coming to Florida, and you think that it may throttle back a little bit?
Of anything in the world, the first reactors are the people that react first. So our biggest part of our movements already happened. So a large portion of those people that have already bought. We actually are seeing a trend of people that bought based because of COVID that are actually selling here and moving back to the northern state they came from. So we're seeing the emotional buyer kind of disappear. The emotional buyer is what causes such an inflection in value. So now we're seeing more of the stable buyer that's saying, yes, I'm retiring, moving to Florida, but they're not in an emotional state that they're going to pay 10, 20% more. As the interest rates increase, as the market slows, you'll start to see that stability come back in the market. I don't predict anything like 2008 because of the cash factor. There is no, lending or predatory lending out there that would cause us to have the foreclosures we had and the trend we had in 2008's market because there's so much cash. How do you bubble cash? You don't. I mean, maybe the cash came from elsewhere and it might bubble elsewhere. But in Florida, when we're such an increase in cash offers, 166%, there is no bubble there.
So if there's no listings, if there's no inventory of homes available, people are looking at new developments, and you talked about a couple of them. What are the trends you're seeing in those homes? Are they bigger homes, smaller homes? Are they each finding their own sweet spot, or is it still,
You're really getting outside of real estate, but you're talking a bigger conversation, which is economics.
Okay.
The economics right now, the futures market is out of control. Futures market is causing supply of plywood. Plywood has gone from $12 to $20 a board to $80. So when you take that and you times that by how many squares of plywood they need for a roof, how many squares they need to build a house, unfortunately, the new home sales market can't deliver the product for the price the market dictates today.
They're not building first-time buyer homes.
They can't build any, they're really limiting their possibility to build any homes based on how high. I follow weird things, and I'm following the lumber market, and the lumber market a month ago was at $1,700, and now it's down to $922. So that's a 60% decrease. So you're seeing stabilization because the home builders are saying, hey, we can't build right now because it's unaffordable. And so you're kind of, this poor buyer is stuck in an influx. They can't get a new affordable house because they can't build them affordable. And the market's going so heavy that you can't afford a house because the market's going up so high.
So we're hearing things like, some of the bigger national home builders, they're not pricing their homes until it's built.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's what they have to do because of the inflection of costs. So in turn, labor has now, a lot of big builders, and builders are friends of mine, they say they actually have more labor than they've had before, even 2 months ago, because the pullback of building is now increasing the labor market. So it's a crazy economic situation right now.
Where's it going?
To me, it's gonna have to be an interest rate increase, which is what's going to slow the market and bring it down to more of a stable. And that's my opinion. And I'm not economist. I just look at the numbers that don't make sense and what controls those. And I think when you see lumber at $1,700, now back down to $900, you're starting to see a trend of stability coming.
So you're wearing two hats. To sellers, sell now. Buyers, if you can wait.
Great. Another part of the conversation that really is what makes no sense in our current state is it's the lowest interest rates in American history right now. I mean, lowest ever. So if you're going to buy a home, and I wish people were at home and I could do a drawing, if you're going to own a home for 30 years, here's the interest you're going to pay. But even if you overpay for the home right now, in 30 years, the home value is going to go there. So at the end of the day, it's still probably a better time to buy because the interest rates are so low. In turn, if they raise the interest rates, it's going to become worse of a time to buy because you're paying the interest to the banks.
Right.
Now, if you're a 3 to 4 year guy, 100% it's a terrible time to be a buyer. Horrible. If you're I'm going to
What do you mean 3 to 4 year guy?
If you're going to live in a house for 3 years and then sell it, you're going to be overpaying for the house.
Okay.
If you're someone that's going to say, we're going to live in here 20 years, the interest rates are so low and I can fix a low interest rate for the next 20 years.
I see. It compensates for the
best investment of your life.
Higher per square foot dollar today over the life of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Sounds great.
So it's an analogy you kind of got to run.
So I think what we've learned today is we need to get together more often.
Yeah, I love it. This is my world. So.
And I have children looking to buy homes, and friends that are saying, should I sell? Should I stay? Should I go? Whatever. And it's just confusing to most of us out there. So
very simple. If you're thinking of selling, it is the absolute best time I've ever seen selling in my 23 years of doing this. Absolutely.
Wow.
And that could change. But right now, I've never seen anything like this.
That's great. Well, Bill, thanks for joining us today. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
really
great.
Enjoyed it.
All right, super. Again, stay tuned to Observations, various topics and subjects that we explore. This was a great visit about the local real estate markets and what's happening. Bill Navarra, Realty Pros Assured, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.